Regardless of how you do it, when you create a Zoom meeting, you will be taken to a page where you can choose your options and settings. This video goes over each of those settings and options so you can tailor your meetings to your needs. Enter all of your meeting details on the scheduling page. It is a good idea to name the topic something descriptive. While the default name, My Meeting, may make sense to some people, it can cause confusion in others. A brief description is not required, but may also be helpful. Enter the date and time, as well as the meeting duration and the applicable time zone. Check the recurring meeting box if you would like it to be regularly scheduled. If so, you will find several additional options, including how you would like to set up the recurrences: daily, weekly, monthly, or no fixed time. All of these you can refine by selecting the time interval between recurrences. You can also choose on which days recurrences may happen, which could be useful for things that occur on multiple days of the week, like Tuesday-Thursday classes. You can end the recurrences by selecting a final date or simply choosing how many times your meeting should repeat. If you like, or if you think it's necessary, you can require registration from your participants. This requirement has additional options for how often you would like participants to be forced to register. You can increase your meeting security by requiring a password, which is given right next to the Require Meeting Password checkbox. If you decide to require a password, make sure to save it in a safe place and to distribute it to your participants so they are not locked out. Also note that meeting passwords may be required by default, and that you might need to uncheck the box to have a meeting that is not password protected. It is a good idea to double check this setting to make sure it's what you want. The video options determine whether video will be on by default for either you or your participants when you open the meeting. Audio options are for which audio setting you would like to use to start the meeting. Telephone and computer audio is the default and probably the most commonly used setting, but you might choose to adjust these in some circumstances. The last set of checkboxes is very important and each deserves individual attention. By default, each of these may be off, so please make sure to turn them on if you would like to use them. Enable Join Before Host allows participants to join the meeting whether you have started it or not. Allowing this may be a good idea for more formal Zoom meetings, like department meetings or other meetings with colleagues. However, this may not be the best setting for instructors to use for synchronous classes because it allows students to interact online in an uncontrolled and unsupervised environment. How you select this option is up to you and your needs or desires. Mute participants upon entry should be checked if you want everyone muted from the beginning of the meeting. This may be a good setting to check for large meetings such as campus addresses or other instances where audiences are not expected to directly participate. Enable Waiting Room allows you to delay students joining the meeting until you have approved their entry. This may be a good setting for conducting individual meetings with consecutive people, such as faculty conducting office hours or counselors or other staff meeting with students. Only authenticated users can join prevents people who are not signed in to Zoom from joining the meeting. While this may create greater security, it may inequitably exclude some students or people from using the resource. However, basic Zoom accounts are free, so please just carefully consider the competing needs of security and equity when deciding whether or not to limit your meeting to authenticated users. Breakout Room Pre-Assign allows you to split your participants into smaller groups for discussion or other activities. Selecting this option allows you to create and assign groups to participants by their email addresses. Record the meeting automatically does exactly that. Selecting this option will prompt whether or not you would like to record the meeting locally on your own computer or in the cloud, where it will be stored by Zoom and available to you through your Zoom profile. The last setting for creating a Zoom meeting is whether you would like alternate hosts. Alternate hosts are allowed the same meeting permissions as yourself, and they may be useful for when you want or need someone else to start a meeting before you can join. Once you save your meeting, you will be taken to the meeting's information page. You will be offered options for adding the meeting to different calendars such as Google, Outlook, and Yahoo, as well as a summary of all the settings you chose. You will also be provided a Start This Meeting link, which you can use to start immediately. If you have required participants to register, you will be provided a registration link to distribute, and that participants will need in order to join the meeting. Selecting Edit in the registration field will provide additional options like determining how you would like participants to be approved, automatically or manually. If you do not require your participants to be registered and authenticated, the meeting information page will contain your invite link. This is the link you will share with users to join your meeting at the appropriate time. Once you save the meeting, these settings will be stored. However, you can edit your settings later if necessary. You can also adjust things like video settings during the meeting. Lastly, if you have a group of settings that you like and prefer to use often, you can save the meeting as a template, which you can apply to future meetings. Once you have your settings established, you can invite other participants, which you can do in different ways and as described in the videos, Scheduling Zoom Meetings, as well as Zoom and Canvas, Parts 1 and 2. If you are using Confer Zoom, the options available to you are generally the same. For additional information on using Confer Zoom, please see the webinar and training resources available from Tech Connect.